In May 2024, my home state of Rio Grande do Sul in Brazil faced the worst disaster in its history. More than 500,000 people were displaced. In my cousin's hometown, there was a horse stranded on a rooftop of a flooded home. When the water broke through the flood walls in my home, the government didn't move fast enough, so the people moved first. They loaded trucks with supplies and with food, and they drove toward the disaster. Celebrities even showed up with jet skis, and they rescued animals and strangers into safety. Young people like me stepped in where help was most needed. The flood walls were actually built after the first great flood of 1941, and they held for decades until they didn't, because they were built for a different world from today. The United Nations was born to prevent another world war. When the founders drafted the charter, they wrote 3 words at the top: we the peoples. Not we the powerful, we the peoples. What they built was extraordinary. The UN has held for decades. But just like the flood walls along the Guaíba River in my home, the UN is close to breaking. No one in 1945 could have imagined the pressures of today or faced them alone. That's why the test of our time is whether the UN can still help the world move forward before it's too late. As a UN Foundation Next Generation Fellow, I have heard from young people through a global survey. More than 7 in 10 actually said today's world is not working for most people. And when we ask what decisions and where the decisions shaping the world are made, 3 in every 5 said the power is spread across governments, people, and businesses, not the UN alone. That matters. We have not lost faith in the UN, but many of us have actually lost patience with a system that feels closed in its culture, concentrated in its power, and cautious in the face of urgency. Too often, we are left to live with the decisions that were made without us, and then asked to believe they were made for us. 2 in 3 young people chose reforms that would share power, changing who gets in, who counts, and who gets to shape these decisions. Because we still believe a better future can be built. This is our message to the UN. Move faster, think long-term, and be honest when progress stalls. 2 in every 3 young people want foresight built into how the UN works. As the floodwaters of crisis and change rise, trust will depend on whether the UN can reach people before they're underwater, whether it can bring people together, turn authority into momentum, and keep one eye on the horizon even after the world has looked away. My ask to you is, do not leave responsibility at the UN's door. If you are a member state, bring the UN home, into your national policy, into your budgets, and into the choices that you make before crisis becomes catastrophe. If you lead a company, use your reach, your capital, your influence to back coalitions that can deliver real change. That's how trust is going to be rebuilt. That's how the world will start to move in the same direction. Because we the peoples was never meant to live only in a charter, rather in what we choose to do together, for the 8 billion alive today and the 10 billion yet to come. So if you hold power in any form, do not wait for the next flood. Do not wait for the next flood to prove the system can act. Move earlier, share power, and build with young people what comes next. The question is no longer whether we are ready. We are. The question is, are you?